beautiful woman was murdered and dumped into a reservoir. Have you ever heard of the nationwide shocking Reservoir corpse case? The eeriness of this story might exceed your imagination. Tag your brave friends before reading on. This one's not for the faint of heart. It all happened in Caixu village. That night I was on night duty when suddenly we received a call, reporting someone drowning in the reservoir. Officer Haduncle and another colleague immediately headed to the scene following the location provided by the caller. The site was deep in a forest halfway up a mountain, an area where hardly anyone went. When they arrived, they saw two night fishermen by the water shouting toward them. Apparently, they were the ones who had reported the incident. The two men hurried over and pointed out the spot where the person had fallen into the water. While one officer went to get the rescue team, the two fishermen began to recount the terrifying scene they had just witnessed. Their names were Li Zongping and Song Rentu. Both were avid night fishermen and often came to that area to fish for snakehead. That night, they had been fishing until the late hours, but hadn't caught much. They were planning to fish for another half an hour before heading home when something strange happened. Song Rentu, who was sitting on the west side, suddenly had a horrified look on his face as he stared past Li Zongping toward the forest behind them. Sensing something was wrong, Li turned around too. There, on the small path through the woods, they saw a girl silently walking toward them. Her face was expressionless, and her whole body was soaking wet, as if she had just come out of the water. Curious and concerned, Li Zongping called out, asking if she was in trouble. But the girl ignored him completely, staring straight ahead as she kept walking toward the reservoir. No matter how many times they shouted, she didn't respond. She just kept walking until she reached the water's edge. Then, without hesitation, she walked straight into the reservoir. Only then did the two men realize what was happening. "My God, she's trying to kill herself," Lai cried and immediately jumped into the water to save her. But the girl moved quickly. Within seconds, she was gone. Li searched desperately underwater, but couldn't find her. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. The two men anxiously described everything to the officers. Apparently, a young woman had committed suicide by drowning. By this time, the rescue and recovery team had arrived and began the search immediately. They worked tirelessly for over 4 hours, scouring nearly every part of the reservoir. Yet, despite all efforts, they found nothing. It was as if the girl had completely disappeared beneath the dark water. At that time, Li Zongping and Song Rentu continued searching in the area indicated by the on-site analysis, but their efforts ended in failure. Still, no one gave up hope. Finally, at daybreak, new information came in. The second team of divers reported that they had found something underwater. In another section of the reservoir, a diver had discovered a female corpse. However, judging by the diver's shocked expression, the situation was far from ordinary. Rescue workers used long poles with hooks to probe the spot the diver had mentioned. After much effort, they finally hauled up a heavy object from the depths, so heavy that it clearly wasn't just the weight of a single human body. When it was pulled onto shore, everyone froze in disbelief. It was indeed the body of a young woman, exactly matching the description given by the two night fishermen. The same girl they claimed had walked into the water, but the truth was horrifying. She had not drowned herself. Her body was tied with iron wire to a large concrete slab, clearly indicating that she had been murdered and deliberately sunk to the bottom of the reservoir. Judging by the swelling and decomposition, she had been dead for over a week, with visible water stains and skin lesions. I remember standing there, trying to process what the fisherman had described, a girl walking into the water the night before, and comparing it to the gruesome reality in front of me. It was utterly beyond comprehension. Even more terrified and shaken than anyone else were Li Zongping and Song Rentu themselves. Eventually, the case was solved. It turned out the two fishermen were innocent. The real culprit was a single man working at a nearby auto repair shop. He had followed the girl, robbed her of her belongings, and then, overcome by lustful intent, committed an unspeakable act. Fearing that the girl might report him to the police, he killed her, then tied her body to a concrete slab with wire and sank her into the reservoir to hide his crime.